Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Viral, and today we are going to read The Green Mile by Stephen King. So, this video is going to be spoilery. I'm going to talk about the whole story. So, if you haven't read it, my advice is read the book and come back for the video. And if you just want to enjoy the ride and you are not going to read the book anytime soon in your life, then yeah, just lay back and let me do the talking and you just kind of enjoy it. Plus, I am pretty much sure that my rambling could go on and on, so just a heads up, okay? The reason I was so intrigued to read this book is because it is on my shelf for like 5 years now, and I was like, okay, let's read it before I saw the movie because I really want to see the movie. So that is the one of the main reason that I'm reading this book. And um, as much as I like to imagine the characters in the book, Tom Hanks as Paul, okay, pretty much like the best casting anyone can ask for Paul. So Paul is our narrator in this book, and he is a guard in this prison where like the death row inmates go for die, and they have this electrical chair and they get electrocuted, and it's really horrible, but the justice just solved. Okay, so the story is set in 1932, and our main character Paul is writing this book in his late 80s, I think. I don't know yet, but somehow he is remembering all those things that happened in this year, and why is that we don't know. This is a story about a criminal named John Caffey, and he is like this big 7 feet tall black man who is just like goofball. Okay, he's crying when he get there, and he has this vacant eyes, and he has convicted for the murder of a twins 9-year-old twins that he raped and brutally violated, and then like tear them apart, that kind of stuff. So he's for that he's being executed sometime in the future in this book. But we get to see the day-to-day life of this prison, and what is the role of what is the role of Paul in all of this. He keeps the prison in like order. Okay, he talked to the inmates, and he just ease them into their death, and he is very much caught up in his life. Like, it is not something that you want to do, but he's doing best that he can. So we met our chair, who has name, by the way, Old Sparky, and I'm just so happy because Sparky, because of the current. So there is a story about this mouse that came in this prison. Maybe he or she committed some crime that we don't know, but he's there. Okay, and it is a big part of their whole arena. And there is this other inmate that adopted this mouse. But what fascinated me about this book is the writing style is so immersive, so atmospheric. Like, you can feel the air in that area. You can feel the characters' breath when they take them. You can feel the heat that they are feeling, and also you can feel their emotions through the pages. Like, that's how immersive and atmospheric and intense the writing style is. But one thing is clear, I'm not getting anything about Paul. Okay, Paul is like a mystery to me. He didn't give anything about himself up yet. It's telling us that how John got arrested, how the twins one night they disappeared from their home and later found with Johnny, and he was weeping, and just police just arrested him. Maybe because of racism, we don't know that yet. But a black man of 7 feet and big, 300 pound, and with two twin girls violated in his possession does not look good. Okay, but there is one unknowing character named Percy which is going to die. I know he's going to die, but how? I don't know. But he is going to die because he's just getting on my nerves, and he's also getting on our narrator's nerves, and he is like a big hater and bully, and he is like connected to the big ones. So yeah, he's going to die. Somehow he's going to die. I don't know how, but he's going to. And the main thing about our character is he's ashamed and kind of fed up from his work. He wants to do much more in his life, or anything but this. Okay, so right now I'm on that part, but the second part is all about the mouse. Okay, how he came into the situation and what he is doing there. But one thing is clear, it is Stephen King, so he's doing his magic. Okay, and I'm just ready for it. So stay tuned for another update.
One of the peculiar things about this mouse is that he knows the difference between who is floaters, which is like the prisoners, and who is regular, and he only ate food which was given by the regulars, the guards, okay, and not the floaters. And that makes me wonder, is the mouse have the consciousness that give him the idea of who is what in that facility? Also, I am not sure where the mouse fit in this whole story. I thought the story was about John, but apparently not. It is big. The mouse is a big part of the book, and I'm here for it. Okay, I'm really intrigued, but also, isn't it just a small creature that you can just ignore? But everyone is really admiring it, so I don't know what happened there, but we'll see. Okay.
Before they execute the prisoners, they are like doing this rehearsal like you do on a wedding and stuff, and they are like recreating all the scenes that has to go down the next day with the prisoner, but they are doing it with another man, like one of their own. So they are laughing and like making jokes about everything because they have to make jokes to do their job. But seeing someone died on in front of your eyes is always difficult, so they have to make this easier for their own mental well-being. And at the end of the chapter, they have one visitor who came early, and that was the mouse. And it just freaked me out because if you saw that how the mouse is looking and seeing everything, like judging if they are doing the good job, and it is just so subtle that the mouse was there, but also really interesting at the same time. So I'm impressed. Okay, let's read further and see what the mouse do. Okay. So let's talk about why John is very special. So one day we get this prisoner named William Wharton, and he was like very nuisance. Okay, let's just call that, like he raped and did so many things, but the main he was convicted for killing three people, and one of them is pregnant woman. So you can imagine what kind of person he is. And he just came in the coal mountain and tried to kill Dean. And Percy just froze there. He didn't do anything to save Dean. But one thing about Paul is he was suffering from a bad UTI, and this condition of his is prevalent from the starting of the book. So he was in a very bad shape. So John Coffey just asked Paul to come into his cell, and he just touched John. Okay, and John just got cured. So John asked Paul to come into his cell and just listen to him. And Paul was reluctant at first, but then he goes inside and John just touched him. And Paul got this electrical impulse inside of him, but not electricity, and got cured. So John healed him because John have healing hands, and that's the name of the third part, that is John Coffey's hand, and he can heal people. Paul was shocked to find out all about it because he was skeptical at first, but his pain was gone, his symptoms was gone, so he just ran into the bathroom and peed all over, and he was like, yeah, okay, I am okay. So he thinks that John Coffey, who have miraculous hand, shouldn't he be committed a crime like that? So he goes to his public defender, Hammersmith, that was his name, and and he asked him a bunch of questions, and the lawyer says that, I know that you think that he is innocent, but look, people change. Okay, it doesn't mean that he done it before or not, he's done it this time and that count, like that type of stuff. So and the whole thing is just got dropped, and that's how we found out that John have a healing hand.
So now, our narrator told us that Percy killed Mr. Jingles. Like, that is unacceptable, Percy. What is wrong with this Percy guy? Like, why he is so hateful and why he is doing what he's doing, right? But he is bad because he is bad. Okay, there is nothing more explained about him. Like, he is young and his blood is like hot and that type of stuff. So he just do things to spite other people. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm going to tell him Del. Okay, his full name is this, but I'm going to say Del. So Del is the one person that Mr. Jingles trust, and they just kind of live together. Del purchase a cigar box for Mr. Jingles, and he called him Mr. Jingles because he said that the mouse whispered his real name into his ear. So that is mouse's name, Mr. Jingles. So he just do tricks with the mouse, and mouse is like very humany in nature. Like, he sit like a gentleman and eats like humans too. So he does this trick with Dell, and they just lived. Okay, but one day the mouse is doing the tricks because the next day is the execution of Dell, and Dell is like very bad criminal. Like, he killed people and fry them apparently, and also he raped other people. The day before his execution, he was doing all these tricks with Mr. Jingle, and just he wants to live more and more moments with his mouse. And in one trick, the spool that he used to command Mr. Jingle to chase it and like bring it back, that roll outside of his cell, and Mr. Jingles just ran towards it, and Percy was there, so he was like, yeah, I'm going to kill this mouse. Okay, it's just a mouse, fella, and he is not supposed to be here. So he killed him. He just like punched the mouse back with his boot, and he just strolled away. And that was that. Mr. Jingle is dead. But then the miracle happened because John Coffey, he saw what Percy did, and he was like, yeah, he's a bad man, but give the mouse to me, I will bring him back. So Paul kind of bring the mouse to Coffee, and John just healed him. But we also found out how Dell just lost it when the mouse is dead. Okay, so he just crying and crying, and that was really painful to read because King just write so good, and I just love it. It was phenomenal. Okay, so Mr. Jingle is back. He's woohoo, and Percy was like doing his stuff in his office. So Paul and Harry just goes to him and told him that Mr. Jingle is back, okay, and you can't hurt him again. So he was like, yeah, you're bluffing, Paul. So Paul is like, no, I'm not. See for yourself.
idiot. And he was like, okay. And then he saw it and he was like, yeah, you're still bluffing because clearly it is a different mouse, you switched it or something. And Paul is like, yeah, that is not talking to this kid, okay. But at the same time, one thing happened that is so bad, okay. And that is, Percy was grabbed by William Wharton, the Billy the Kid tattoo man, and he just want to like lick him and feel him. And he was like, yeah, you are gay and I will you, this kind of stuff. So Percy was like peed in his pant and they'll laugh at him. So he was like, yeah, I will see you, you know, you are going to die the next day. And I will make sure that something terrible is going to happen. And that was it. The next day they just take Dell to this Green Mile and then to electrical chair Mr. Sparky. And like this execution, okay, this execution is the one thing that Paul promised Percy, and in return of this he was like, yeah, you have to leave cold mountains, okay, you have to get transferred to another facility, we don't want you here, you are nuisance to us. And Percy was like, yeah, why would I do it? So Paul is like, yeah, if you don't do it, we will tell everyone that you let Wharton almost killed Dean when he first come into this facility. And also, you know, whatever Wharton did to you just right now is going to be public, okay. So Percy was like, okay, maybe I will think about it, but Paul knows that he will think about it. So the next day, when the execution was like going to happen, we will see that a lot more of people came to watch, and it was like really thunderous night and like really bad, okay. So when the execution, like they do this procedure, they just soak the sponge in the brine water and they put it on the head, so the current just go into their head and like do the bullet kind of thing, like electric bullet in their brain, okay. So and it will like over in a minute or two. So that's the procedure. So when the Percy did the sponge thing, he didn't bring the brine water, okay. He just put the dry sponge into Dell's head, okay. And even before someone happened to notice the deliberate mistake of Percy, he was like, okay, call for two, and that was the signal for actually passing the current. So the current passed, but without the brine water sponge, the current go everywhere. So Dell started burning from everywhere. He turns black and just burn everywhere. And yeah, it was so much longer. It was so much longer. It was unimaginable. Okay, the pain you cannot imagine. So the person was like, I thought that the sponge was supposed to be dry because it was never wet during the rehearsal. That was his excuse. And then Paul have this idea. Paul have so many ideas. And at this point I was like, yeah, there is something wrong with Paul. Like, is Paul telling the truth? Like, I was skeptical about Paul himself. I don't trust the narrator that easily because there is so many unreliable narrator plot that just freak me out at the end, okay. Paul is in this establishment for the old people, and there is this person who remind him of Percy because he is like coward and always calling Paul Polly and always pulling his hair. And yeah, what are you doing in the woods? Because Paul goes to woods and he was like, yeah, I will find out what you are doing there. And he tried to abuse him at some point. So there is this whole other storyline is going on, and Paul have this friend whose name is Elaine, and Elaine is like his boo because his wife Janice is dead. So right now
Aline is all he got, and they are like sweethearts to each other. And I think it was beautiful plot. Okay, like everyone needs someone at the end, but the more important thing that Dell is the one criminal that fried people, that his victim, so he got fried in return. So it was kind of poetic justice. It was kind of poetic justice. Paul have this idea that coffee can heal everyone. Okay, so coffee can help this one person that have brain tumor. So who is this person? Her name is Melinda, and he is the warden, whose name is Hal, by the way. She is his wife. Okay, and they love each other very much. So she has this brain tumor, and Paul is like, if we take John to Melinda and try to heal her, that would be great. So he gather all of his friends from the prison, Brutal, Harry, Dean, and Paul. Okay, so he told them his plan. Okay, he was like, let's take care of Percy. We will tie him up and throw him in detention room, and we gave morphine to Wharton to like make him sleep, and then we take coffee in the middle of the night to Hal's house and told him all about how he can help Melinda, and yeah, coffee can take care of the rest. And all of them like, yeah, what the fuck you are talking about, dude? That's not going to happen, because we cannot like bring him. He's 7 foot tall, okay, and he weigh 300 pounds. You cannot. And what if he try to run? But Paul is like, he's innocent. He is innocent. The man cannot tie a shoelace. Okay, how he's supposed to murder those two girls and rape them when he don't know how to tie his own shoelaces? And when he was found by the police, he have this lunch where his lunch was like tied. So obviously that was not his lunch, and someone else put it there. Okay, he take this matter into his own hands and go to that police who arrested Coffee and ask him some questions, and then he told the police how he thinks that Coffee is innocent. The police officer that arrested Coffee also thinks that Coffee didn't do it. So he was like, okay, maybe I can help you out. He goes to the place where the whole thing happened. He also asked a couple of questions to the girl's parents and found out that they have a visitor for 3 days who took care of some chores for them, and he is the killer. He is the killer. So Paul is like, yeah, would you happen to know this person? But the police was like, no, we don't know it. Okay, we don't know it, but they are pretty sure that there is that man. Okay, so all of these things Paul discuss with the friends, and they execute the plan. Okay, they took Percy by surprise. Okay, they just grabbed him and told him to what they are going to do to him, and they tie him up and then threw him in a detention room. And then they go to Coffee, and he was like, yeah, I know you are going to take me to help this lady. And John was like, yes, you are absolutely right. And then he just took Joffrey and then he took Coffee out, and they go to this Hal's home, and there Coffee performed the miracle. He just cured Melinda, and the scene that is written here is so intense, because every time Coffee heals someone, he just threw back the poison in the form of insect from his mouth. But this time he just sucked the poison or tumor out of Melinda by giving her mouth to mouth, and then just did not did not, you know, did not throw up. So the tumor is inside him, okay, in the form of bees or insect or I don't know what it is, but it is inside of him. And Paul is like, let me help you, just cough it up. And Coffee is like, no, I need it, okay, I need it. So they took him back to his cell and they released Percy from his cell. And Percy was like, yeah, I will see you fuckers in the morning, okay, I will tell my uncle and I will like took all of your jobs and stuff. And at that point, Coffee just grabbed Percy and threw everything that was inside of him into Percy's mouth. And Percy was just, gone blind in rage, okay. He took his pistols out and he killed Wharton. He killed Wharton 6 bullets because Wharton was just lying inside his cell, drugged up out of his mind, so he doesn't know what hit him. He just died. Percy killed him, and everyone was shocked that what happened. And after that, Percy threw up all the insect from inside of him, and he just gone, okay, gone from this world. He was like became this serene person who has just vacant eyes, and he was just bye-bye. Okay, so Percy remained the same throughout his life. They took him and evaluate him, and like there is this huge media outrage, okay, after that. But everyone was like, okay, let's straighten out our story because someone has to. And Paul was like, Coffee, why would you do it? And he was like, because he was a bad man. And Paul is like, but everyone is bad man, why him? And then Paul realized that Wharton is the one who killed and raped those twins, and Coffee remembered it. So he just, that's how he took revenge on Wharton. And that was so intense, okay, so intense. And at this point, Janice was like, why don't you do something to help Coffee? Okay, let's reopen the case. We cannot kill him, he is angel in disguise, right? He can heal people, and you guys are going to kill him. Like, that was murder. You cannot kill innocent person. But Coffee was like, let me die, and he gave this speech that I really want to read, and I really want to you guys to hear, because that was I'm rightly tired of the pain I hear and feel, boss. I'm tired of being on the road, lonely as Robin in the rain, not never having nobody to go on with or tell me where we are coming from or going to or why. I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. It feels like pieces of glass in my head. I'm tired of all the times I wanted to help and couldn't. I'm tired of being in the dark. Mostly it's the pain that's too much. If I could end it, I would, but I can't. Means Coffee cannot die on his own, okay? He has healing power. How could he? Okay, so if something could kill him, he would take his chances and wants to go out from this world to help soothe his pain. And I think it was so sad, and I was crying when I read it. And at this point, I don't think that Paul did anything wrong. But then Coffee got executed, and everyone was there. He was like, don't put that black mask over me because I am afraid of dark. And I was like, yeah, you are, you innocent goose. And Paul was like, why didn't the girl scream? Coffee, why, John? And John was like, because Wharton killed them with what they love. He told one girl to stay quiet, otherwise he will kill the another one, and he told the another one the same thing. So they just didn't scream. And yeah, it was so painful. And Wharton was really bad, guys. At this point, the book was ending, so Paul just wrapped it up with
what happened to all the characters, how they died, and someone died by heart attack, someone by accident, and everything. Okay, and then we are in the present where Aline read all this and was like, yeah, but you in 1932 you were having a big grown age children, so how old are you? And John was like, I am 104. I am 104 and I'm living normal life. I look like I'm in my 80s, but I'm not. When the events of 1932 happened, I was 40 years old. And the reason behind my seemingly long life is because when the day before Coffee's execution, Coffee was just standing there and talking to Paul, and he just grabbed Paul's hand, and at this point he just gave Paul a healthy life. Okay, so he saved Paul, and after that Paul never fell sick. Okay, never felt so much of pain. Even after he lost his wife Janice in an accident in a bus full of people, 73 people were there and only 4 are saved, and one of them is Paul. And at that day Paul remembered John so much. Like, he was like, if John was here, he could save Janice, but he was not. But still Paul can feel his spirit around him, and he sometimes just remember John out of nowhere, because he was an angel always looking over Paul's shoulder. But right now, at the present moment, Paul took Elaine into the woods and he was like, look at this, and we found out that Mr. Jingles is alive and well at 63-year-old mice, living with Paul. And Elaine was like, no way, and Paul was like, yeah way. And then this um, and then this fake Percy, who Paul don't like and who doesn't like Paul, just came in, and he was like, yeah, what are you guys doing? And he was like, ew, that mouse. And Mr. Jingles wants to die at that moment. Okay, so he just dropped dead out of nowhere. He just have a heart attack or something, because he ate some candy or something which caused him to have a heart attack, and he died. So Paul was like, yeah, my last friend died from that time. Okay, and after 2 or 3 months, Elaine also died in her sleep. So Paul is the one who is just waiting to death to come to him. But the last line of the book just really hit me in the head. It was like Paul was really want to go. Like, at this point he was like, yeah, I'm ready to just died, and he just waiting for death. Like, we each owe a death, there are no exceptions, I know that, but sometimes, oh god, the Green Mile is so long. And I was so emotional when I finished this book, and I have a very surreal experience. Like, I really want to read other King's works, because yeah, he's the great. Okay, but I'm going to take a break to read something else. But in this book, I really like the character of Janice and Elaine. They are both strong women, and Paul is like a neutral person who just try to do good for everyone, and he really see good in everyone and wants to help them somehow. So he is that. John just made me so sad. He's like big big teddy bear that I really want to give hug to, and he has this power who just, it's really sad to have it. Like, it is really cool, no doubt about that, but still. And I am just so relieved that the main culprit got caught somehow and died in front of us. Like, we read it, so it feels good. Okay. And that was my experience of reading Green Mile by Stephen King. I'm going to watch the movie and cry some more. Okay, but yeah, the book was so great. I gave it 5 star, but I think this one is one of my top 10 books of this year. I haven't read much. I'm like 19 or 20 books in. So yeah, but this is number one at this date. Okay, so I'm going to watch the movie, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.